Yeah, good times. We've already started episode 25, the silver anniversary episode for the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. Good morning, ladies.
Yay!
Good morning.
I should have brought balloons or something. Or at least, blown up some condoms. I'm not sure.
Right? Right? We should have a bouquet. And I kicked off the episode by snapping myself in the jawline with the headphones, and it's still smarting. And go ahead, feel free to laugh. It was funny.
No, I was laughing.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
it's good stuff. So yeah, well, congratulations. We made it to 25 episodes. Did you know that the average lifespan of podcasting right now, because so many people are trying to do it, is 10 episodes, and they flame out?
Nice. We got over the hump.
And hump we do around here. Yes, that's definitely the case. So congratulations to us. Well done, us. And I was noticing we do have a special guest in the room today. We've got Sarah. Hey, Sarah, I've got your mic on, so you can jump. Hi, and you're welcome to pipe in on any of the topics if you feel inspired today, because we have a pretty open forum. There's so much stuff going on, you guys. There are so many goofy things going on. I can't wait to get into that. But before we go forward, some of the stuff that Megan, you genius little wizard, you have been putting up on the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast Facebook page, freaking hilarious. You've been like on a serious roll lately.
Thanks, I try. There's always no shortage of funny sex stories, so that's helpful.
I know.
People are always naked doing something stupid.
It's perfect. I mean, exactly.
There is something inversely about stupid and nudity, together.
Right.
Yeah. These things really do go together well,
and you can't make that crap up. It's the best thing ever. So, but we had an old friend, and so I'm curious how Colleen. You said you went on a sort of a mass inviting rant last night.
Yeah, I was couldn't sleep because this is what I do. I don't sleep, and I decided, we're 25 episodes in, and I have a slightly different business, but. So on Facebook, so generally I've left my personal Facebook be personal. I don't do a business thing. And I decided, screw it. So I invited like 200 of my Facebook friends to like this Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. Because I know that even the people that are closest to me, depending on how they use their Facebook,
right,
or not, may not want to have the naked guy hanging off a bridge in Florida pop up in their Facebook feed. But
why not?
They'd be missing out.
I mean, I would love to see a naked guy pop up on my Facebook feed. No, it's fine. I mean,
but for most of the stuff we do, it's not like it doesn't show up other places. I mean, we're not, we find it somewhere. Occasionally, we're creating our own content,
we're not
doing
getting
that.
nude and doing stupid things, taking pictures of ourselves.
No,
right?
No nude selfies. In fact, I think I've taken like one selfie my entire life. I take many more pictures of my cats. Yes, I'm sort of a crazy cat woman. I only have one though, cat.
Do you know how many pictures there are of my dog sleeping? Because he's so cute when he sleeps, and he's so I do the same damn thing. Well, you invited a bunch of friends, and an old friend, a blast from very far in my past, popped up liking the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast Facebook page. Kevin Matheny, how do you know Kevin?
We worked together at the Renaissance Festival. We've known each other for close to 25 years now. Yep. And we've just been buddies forever.
He's a great dude. He is one person that gave me one of the first looks in radio when I was first actually getting in years and years and years ago.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
The whole small world thing.
Yeah.
And I love his sense of humor. So
I sent him a tape.
We definitely, we have very mutual mutant sense of humor.
He is a great dude, and I actually had sent him a demo tape, an actual tape. Remember those? Sarah probably doesn't, and maybe not even Megan. But an actual cassette demo tape from California, and he actually agreed to talk to me. This is before I even came here to go to broadcast school, but he was an early adopter. So, hey, Kevin, I hope you're listening, and I hope you're great. What city is he in now?
East. I never can remember which one. See, I know how to get places. I don't exactly know their addresses anymore.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, sort of like you don't know phone numbers anymore. You just put it in once and you poke, aimlessly at your phone or something until something rings. That sounds like sex, sort of.
Wow. But there are a lot of people who handle sex that way, unfortunately. I've dated a few, but I digress. No. Somebody say something and get past this for me, would you?
No, we're just going to wallow in it. Keep talking.
Dig. I'll just hand you a shovel.
Thanks for the help, guys. Love you, too. Yeah. So, guys, anything going on? What's going on at Fantasy Gifts? How's the garden?
Growing. It's great. The garden's going well. We're getting, we went through, about 3,000 feet of rope this past week. Got it all cut up into appropriate 30-foot sections and going out to the store. We've got raspberry, lime green, dark gray, sort of an ocean blue, and purple. Yeah.
So for Pride?
No, just for general rope play.
Okay.
Bondage is still very, very popular, and we decided that folks might like something more than black, red, and white.
Perfect.
And, I just went, hey, it's been fascinating locating rope companies and calling them up going, well, I'm looking for this reason. And, this came from a company that like manufactures this stuff for like horse bridles and tack and stuff like that. And I'm trying to ask them questions, and I'm not quite sure what the vocabulary of rope is, because I don't know. I mean,
there's a particular rope parlance, I suppose.
Yeah,
there's one for everything.
And so I finally, so I'm going back and forth, and they send samples, and we got it all in, and it's just we're cutting in sections and putting it in a pretty little braids. I don't know how to do that. A lot of other people do it.
Yeah.
So the rope is in. The garden is good. We are close to finishing the Burnsville freshening, getting ready for Jessica next week. Very excited about that. Today we discussed food.
Yeah. What's the hors d'oeuvre fare for a porn star / sex consultant?
Cheese, fruit, and chocolate. You can't go wrong with these things.
I suppose. And wine.
There'll be wine, and not everyone's a wine drinker, so there'll be beer.
Cool.
We're going through there. So we're, getting through, that sort of stuff. The holiday, it was fascinating. The holiday week was good. Usually things are fairly slow this time of year for us. Mm-hmm. And they haven't been. I mean, because normally there's Mother's Day, there's, fishing opener, there's graduations, there's, anything, if you've got your grandmother or your aunts coming in for all of these events, or your uncle, you don't generally take them to fantasy gifts.
Yes.
And so people tend to hold off until after July 4th when all that stuff is done. But it's just going gangbusters. It's been spectacular. And so normally this is what, like I said, this is when we do projects. And we've been so busy, we're like, oh my God.
So you have a lot of dildos piling up in the warehouse that need organizing?
I think we've got... Yeah, I think we just got more in. We got a new item in at the Burnsville store and a couple other ones. It's butter? No.
The Swan?
Swan.
Rechargeable Vibe, Fridley, Lakeville, Burnsville, and Minneapolis.
And it's a Swan.
No, that's the fancy name for it. It can't be like, here's a rechargeable penis. It's like, it's the Swan. It's
marketing.
Beautiful.
See, that makes me, I can't hear the word swan without thinking of Barbara Streisand. A swan? it just cracks me up. Well, I bumbled into the Minneapolis store on Hennepin last week. Carl and I were taking a walk with the dog, and we just happened to go that direction instead of the other way we usually go. And I said, oh, wait. I've never ducked in here yet. What a nice store, you guys. I had never taken a spin through there, and I love the way you put it together. You got kind of like this really nice little foyer there. It's very, very clean, very, inviting. And then the store itself looks wonderful.
Yeah, it was the old Cafe de Napoli space.
Yeah.
And so we took half of it. Our neighbor took the other half, and I was debating between the two halves. Our half doesn't have a window, which drives everybody crazy because it's a little bit harder to find the store. But, that half was less expensive, which is always good.
Yeah.
And the other side needed more work because it had been gutted down to the point where you could pretty much put your finger through the wall to the outdoors, and there was just a lot of work to be done. And my favorite part about that store, the fact that it's gorgeous, and we had a lovely time putting together something that really fit sort of the theater district of Minneapolis, was the fact that we were putting it together when I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
Which means I was at my mom's, absolutely positively stoned on OxyContin for the entire time they were doing this. And everyone would be sending me pictures and like, do you want this color paint or this color paint? And I'm like, that one. Or little tiny pictures. And it's 4 years ago. I didn't quite have as good of a phone or the computer, and we're going through. And I'm just glad it turned out because I supervised this thing stoned out of my mind.
Good for you.
Because I was... it was a very painful break and a very painful surgery, and there was I mean, there was no getting by on just Advil for 5 weeks. Sure. I needed, needed this stuff. And so we've just been open for it's been 4 years now, and the store is beautiful. It is difficult for folks to locate. So it's in between the smoke shop and, the Improv Theater.
Brave New Workshop.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah.
Talk about a brain fart. Oh, jeez.
There was an ant crawling on you. I thought I got him last time, but I finally, sorry about that. I just assaulted Colleen, and she was like, "Wow!"
I figured it had to be something.
Yeah.
It happened at my sister's wedding. It was outdoors, and she has this gorgeous dress on, and there's the top part's all lace, and I'm the maid of honor, and I'm holding the flowers and all this, and I'm sitting outside, and I'm noticing the ant crawling up her skirt, which is just sat, and that's fine. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking, if it gets to the lace, this is going to be a problem, because then if it could get smooshed, and that would be. So I'm like, at what point do you? So at one point, I just sort of leaned forward, removed the ant, got back. Ceremony kept going. So ant removal is now something that I have done for a wedding.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, it's so glad she had you, because it's better that it didn't get anywhere and then have her feel it and be standing there twitching like a complete maniac.
Start screaming at
right,
the
exactly.
No,
especially
get it off.
A fire ant or something like that. That could have been disastrous. My God. So, and by the way, last note on the Minneapolis store, a very nice young man named Shane was working when I went in. And so I came in and I was, in what was very obviously jogging clothes or whatever. And I said, hey, I haven't been in here. I just wanted to take a peek or whatever. Well, do you have any questions? Just super nice. I mean, first thing, is there anything, whatever? And I said, no, actually, I'm really good. And then I told him that I worked with you. And it was one of those kind of things that he was very, very sweet. So, all right, you guys ready to hear about some of the whack jobs?
Always.
That could be so many different things.
I know.
To use the word whack.
It kind of came out, and I realized halfway through the word what I was doing. But okay, so do you guys like asparagus?
No.
Well, yeah.
You don't?
No.
I mean, yeah.
Anyone? Everybody else around the table like asparagus? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. It makes my pee smell funny, and I'll mention. I don't care. I'm sort of unsubtle about certain things. So yeah.
Okay.
Other than that,
Yeah. Well, there's that, and I think most people would agree. So Germany, police were called about an angry mob wielding sticks and rather intimidating-looking knives, and they sent 6, I guess, what would be the German countryside equivalent of the sheriff's department. 6 vehicles. Officers responded to this. And no, in fact, it was not an angry mob that was going to go out and hack up people or do other heinous things. They were traveling asparagus harvesters. And they were on their lunch break going between fields. And this woman saw them and just completely freaked out. And she's like, oh, my God, there's terrorists with sticks. You have to come and help. So it was the asparagus. I mean, can you imagine? It's like, no, dude, we're just cutting the asparagus. We're fine. Peace.
I'm just trying to visualize. I mean, you're in a field. It's obvious that you're in the, but I mean, you're in a farming area. But why are you still holding the asparagus? So there's a question. See, there's always more questions.
Well, the asparagus is probably in the bags. So not visible.
And I just,
hey, baby, I come in peace. Let me show you my asparagus. Here. See?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Just, it was long and cylindrical and people freak out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, do you have that happen in the stores much?
It can be.
It tends to happen actually when someone brings something home from the stores that was unexpected or uninvited. Then they come back and they're like, "Oh, my wife killed me," and I'm like, "That's why I told you all sales were final like 5 times because I looked at the toy and I said." Nope.
Yeah, or if you're ordering online, no matter how many, sometimes you'll put the dimensions on. You'll put something on next to it to describe it or stuff like that. But it's so hard to judge size from a picture because online all the pictures have to be the same size.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And I actually made that mistake one time. I ordered online, not from you. This was years and years ago. And dimensions didn't really mean anything. I was looking for features. I got it, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Right.
You've got to be kidding me. Hell no. Like, not just no, but hell no. That thing was terrifying. And I mean, it was my own fault. So I didn't, go back to the company.
So, yeah, that's one thing we're going to be looking, especially for the larger ones. We don't know whether we're going to, we've got the pictures from the companies that we can use, and sometimes we shoot our own pictures, but we'll probably add, like...
Size alert.
Something a size alert, or take a picture where, got to look into this, where we, like, put a Coca-Cola can next to it, because everybody knows what,
that's smart.
You need a reference point.
Yep.
That's the same, because you can even put a ruler there, but it still doesn't mean
because
anything.
Really what gets people, it's often not the length, it's the circumference.
Okay.
When you're like, 7 inches, oh god, it's like 5 inches around though. That's what really gets people.
Really? Yeah. Through your experience in the stores?
Yeah, the girth is what gets them. And we try really hard. So I think we're actually right now, just so I don't know, obviously this will be, hopefully people will be listening to this for a long time, and I'll let you know. But if you're listening within this week of it being broadcast, we are switching hosts for our website. So we've got everything directed to our partner website. So check that out.
Okay.
Because the host we were using just could not handle the volume we have. There's a lot of pictures involved in retail, and it just seems to be mind-boggling to web companies that want to have my retail business but then can't handle it. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah, you guys have some obvious pitfalls to your business, where you he and no returns and why and all that kind of stuff. But then there's other things too that you don't really think about that you run across that.
Oh yeah, I mean, just finding a company that would work with us. I mean, I wanted to find someone to design a company or someone to help me, and there were just folks that were not comfortable working with our product lines. And I'm like, okay. But we do find folks, but a lot of times I can't host it myself. I mean, I don't even want to get involved in that, because we need someone to like stand and look at a computer screen all day long and find out whether or not your site's up.
Yeah,
I don't have. I don't have someone that can do that. Yeah. That's what you have big companies for.
It does, even in today's day and age, I think it would be, I'm surprised that you have an issue with particularly a web company, because those are usually made up of younger people. I mean, that's the stereotype anyway of the whole Silicon Valley, generation, and that they would be like, yeah, no, we don't want to work with fantasy gifts. That surprises the heck out of me, honestly.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because a lot of times you're not on your own server. And then you share the server, and if you have folks, other search engines that are looking for items, and you see your name, or you see some of the items, it tends to tag that server, sometimes as spam, and then so it bleeds on to other companies. I sort of had it. I sort of get it, but I only have so much brain space, and so I'm like, okay, I get it. So a lot of times we need to have a dedicated server or a company that has enough servers that they can put. The folks that sometimes interfere with other traffic. And now I shouldn't, but I mean, for example, I had to take fantasygifts.com off of our Google Plus page because, Google would flag our site.
That's ridiculous.
You can't not be on Google, yet they're just, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But I finally figured that out, so I just took the website off. I have no choice. But I'm assuming when our site is fantasygifts.com, I'm less likely about it. We've owned it for years. If we were just opening a store called Fantasy Gifts, there's a bunch of other ones out there, and you would have a difficult time locating, and that would really be frustrating to have to. A lot of websites are like, what does this have to do with your company?
Yeah, because of the saturation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's hard today to start a company, and people are starting to get more creative with spellings and everything else. They're going to have to open up some more domains, and they are. But.
And the thing is, that ends up being what's frustrating is that, let's say they open up .sofa. I don't know. They could. I have to buy fantasygifts.sofa so that somebody else doesn't get it. So it's not as though they're really opening up more. I have to protect my trademark by owning all of these websites that I will domain names, I should say, not websites. Use the right terminology here. That I'm not even using.
Yeah, I own ridiculous numbers of domains for the different businesses that I'm involved with. So it is,
and trying to keep up with what's going on and who has them and I'm just like the amount of email I get from that. Where's my to-do list? I forgot to do that this week. I got a couple more emails going, you need to check this. I'm like, is this real? Is this another company? Is it spam? So I'm not sure. I mean, I just get so much. You probably do too, just thrown at you.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Well, let's talk some nakedness, can we? Because I've got a couple just. Okay, so Florida. We have to stop in Florida for 3 different stories. Okay, because they were very active this week. Yeah. So, the police get a report of a guy standing on a log, butt naked, flailing his arms and screaming by the beach. And they're like, wow, okay, so here they came. And somebody said, hey, dude, that was closer by, the cop car's approaching. The police are coming. And he turns around and he bent over and gave him a full moon. Like, seriously, like, woo! And then the cop showed up. And he's like, oh, wow, I guess I didn't really think it was the cop. You know, like, I just thought it was telling me that it was a cop. So he made it worse for himself because he went ahead. And so this is the Marion County Sheriff's Department down there in Florida. And so he said, well, I wouldn't have mooned you, but I was standing here naked, but I've only had 5 beers. And I was hot.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that after 5 beers, even though I'm a lightweight, I would still keep my clothes on. So there's something else going on there.
Yeah, who knows how much whiskey or...
yeah,
I was going to say 5 whiskey is a different story.
Or maybe it was one of those high alcohol specialty beers.
Yes.
It could be like Spanish beer. Ooh, yummy. Sorry.
And I just
flashback to when I went to school in Spain. Oh, yummy beer. Okay.
Well, I'm Boynton Beach. Just the name sounds funny, but we moved now in Florida to Boynton Beach, where Robert Allen Sweeney was walking along, carrying his open 24-ounce can of Bud Light, specifically, wearing nothing but a shirt and sneakers. And police were alerted that there was a guy that had a chunk of an important section of clothing missing, and so they pulled up, and he said, oh, what's wrong? I live right there. I was just going to get some more pants. I was just sitting down at the beach, and I all of a sudden realized I didn't have my pants, and so I must have lost them down there. So I was just cruising home to get some. I'll go get them. No big deal, right? The charges are indecent exposure and open container violation.
I don't know where my pants are, and I'm on the beach.
I'm on my way home. I just live right here, though. So it's really, even though my naked stuff is hanging out, I'm 5 steps from home. It's like how the people that get stopped for drunk driving, but I live right there. I just live over there.
I hope he went and got some sunscreen too.
Oh, I feel bad. What if he really lost his pants?
But how do you lose your pants?
What if someone stole them?
I know.
That bridge bum guy came back, stole his pants so he wasn't naked.
This one isn't quite naked, but it does involve pants and Florida. So I thought that this was a nice little trio here. 19-year-old kid, Marlon Paul Alvarez, goes into a pawn shop, which, do you guys ever go into pawn shops? It can be highly entertaining. There's some really interesting stuff.
When I was looking for some instruments for my daughter, but I couldn't find anything exactly what we needed.
Okay, yeah, no, they're pretty cool. But he decided to help himself to an AK-47. And if you've ever seen an AK-47, have you? Do you realize how big they are?
Yeah.
And I've shot them, so I can tell you right now. And stuffed it down his pants, okay? He didn't just take off, though. As he was heading towards the door, he saw a different AK-47. I think this one had a scope that he preferred. So in the process of switching he might have gotten out of there. Switching one AK-47 for the other one, he got caught. And he's being put in jail. Now, I'm just trying to picture this because...
there's got to be some great video of this. I would hope so, because there's no way that a gun shop or wherever he is or pawn shop does not have
they're gonna
a video.
But okay, have you guys ever seen this? I have an equivalent parallel story. Carl owns a liquor store, my boyfriend. So have you seen the giant bottles of Grey Goose vodka? They're big. I mean, they're like this big. I mean, about 2 feet tall. I want to say, and not tiny around either. Every summer, 2 or 3 times, we catch somebody with one of those down their pants.
Yeah, that's
the whole thing. And
it's patented place.
And so I thought that was like really the outer limits of pant volume for shoplifting.
Well,
AK-47.
I figure in Florida they must have a lot of booze problems, because when I went down to Fort Myers, oh God, that's so much fun to go down to Fort Myers and see the twins. But you go to the liquor stores there, and they have electronic things attached to the top of the alcohol.
Yeah.
Which means they must have a huge souvenir problem.
Yeah.
With the bottles of booze, because it looks like they're all wearing little top hats. It's really sort of.
No, they do.
But I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is interesting.
There's one in North Minneapolis that has the same thing.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, God, what a pain in the butt that would be to have to do that to every single bottle that's out. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Oh yeah, I did find a naked person story that involved Dolph Lundgren. And so you're going to have to find this out. We'll share this with him. So I'm flipping around, and yesterday was a Monday. It was truly a Monday in every sense of Monday sucks. Almost got run off the road twice, lots of stupid happening, and this runs across my Facebook feed. Dolph Lundgren and a bunch of other people are in a private jet going to some sort of racing thing, and a guy is drinking, takes a couple Xanax, blacks out, gets naked, and ends up pissing on Dolph Lundgren's shoes. And he was actually pretty cool about it. There's it's on my website, so I'll be able to send it over to you. The guy is like fully covered in tattoos, standing on naked, and then manages to somehow pee on Dolph Lundgren's shoes. And according now,
was Dolph Lundgren in the shoes at the time?
He was in the shoes at the time. Peed on Dolph Lundgren. Now this is not a tiny guy.
No,
but he was like, whatever, dude. I mean, I'm like this. I don't really have that much of an opinion on the man, but now my opinion is this is a cool dude because he could obviously see that there was no harm intended, that the guy was just stupid, and he rolled with it. But naked, tattooed, blacked out man pees on Dolph Lundgren's shoe on an airplane.
So many questions. So many questions.
Not wise.
And it is. I will make sure that you get that because this is something that needs to be shared. Because if you're having a really, really bad day, this makes you giggle. Yeah. Because you figure at least naked tattoo guy did not black out and pee on me today. See, that's how I figured out that I'm like, my day's not that bad. I was not peed on.
Okay. I'm switching mine. It used to be nobody stole a kidney. So I'm going to change to nobody peed on my shoes. Good Lord. That is just, wow. Okay. So can you imagine being your claim to fame? I'm the guy who peed on Dolph Lundgren's shoes.
It's interesting because if you were the guy that peed on like Chuck Norris's shoes, you wouldn't live to tell about it.
Well, there's that.
But he was just cool about it. I'm like, wow, that's great.
So moving to Birmingham, England, a woman is jailed for 2 weeks. 2 weeks for loud sex. She was under what they call over there an antisocial behavior order. Okay, this is a real court thing, which it's hard to take anything seriously from a British court because they all wear those stupid wigs, but I digress. She was forbidden from bothering her neighbors after they complained to the city council she'd been making a lot of noise in her apartment for several different reasons. Fights, loud music, all this kind of stuff. So they put her under this order. And then she and her boyfriend apparently made up because they were having raucous, loud sex that the neighbors report lasted 10 whole minutes and woke them up. So they hauled her into court, and a female judge determined that she had violated this order. And so she is going into the lockup for 2 whole weeks for a good. I hope it was a good one because she's.
If you go to jail for loud sex, it damn well better have been loud and good.
Oh, I don't know. 10 whole minutes. It couldn't have been that great.
I'm just saying. I just report. I didn't. But did you guys remember that they referred back to? They said this isn't the first time that loud sex led to legal trouble. Do you remember the story from last year on ironically, the Virgin Air flight to Las Vegas was restrained. They pulled a woman aside because the plane crew had to bust up a mile-high sex encounter, and she was screaming. So they went in, and they're like, yeah, you're naked. Now you're in trouble. Can you imagine the TSA feeling you up going through security is bad enough, but getting caught actually already naked, not so much. Not so much.
Planes are so horribly gross. I don't care. I do not understand the concept of the Mile High Club. They're just gross. They're just filthy. Like I said, we talk about low, expectations and stuff like that. Excuse me.
Yep.
My only expectation now of a plane is I am thrilled if my seat is not covered in vomit.
Wow.
That is how low my travel expectations are. Because this is what I've ran across once, and I'm like, oh. At one point I was attempting to clean the seat.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Ew.
So Oh.
Why would you want to have sex in that environment?
So, but actually, if it was only 10 minutes of loud sex, then, that's her 10 minutes. She still has 5 more minutes of loud sex if she wants her 15 minutes of fame.
2 different people. Just kind of, you, Megan, last show you were on,
yes,
brought up Tallywhackers.
Yes.
You remember what it is?
Yeah, the male Hooters, right?
Yeah. So it's open in an area. It's near Dallas. First one is open, and the second one is already underway. And that one's going to be somewhere in the Houston area. And I just thought this was interesting because they really are billing that every much as an attraction for gay men as they are for women.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, but it almost comes across in the promotional article and the quotes from the founders that maybe that's the business that they're looking for more so, I think. So I'm not sure.
Crap load of money.
Yeah.
I mean that if you market to everyone you can, you're going through there. It makes sense. I mean, you're talking about, good-looking guys in tiny little shorts. You're going to market to everyone who likes good-looking guys in tiny little shorts.
But see, they don't market Hooters to lesbians, though. Really. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And so that's where I was sitting there kind of going, when I was thinking about that. That, first of all, part of me as a hetero female is like, well, why do I have to share? But then again, some of my best friends are gay, so I don't want to be too picky about it. But I just thought that was interesting that they're very much going after.
I wonder if that's because, in general, men are much more visual creatures. With women, a lot of times it's more like, that's why we will read erotica over watching porn, because the visual stimulation is not as a big deal.
Right.
So for, like, say, lesbians, maybe seeing visually a bunch of women, in tank tops is not as appealing,
I suppose. Colleen?
Because it is so heavily marketed to men. I mean, I assume that the majority of it just doesn't appeal to me. I don't care how good the wings are, whether I'm gay or straight. It's not. Yeah, they probably are missing out on some bucks. Well, they really are. I mean, and it wouldn't take that much in an ad to show a couple of women chowing down on some wings, and when you're doing that. But I would assume that the majority of the guy customers would probably be fine with that too. So it probably has more to do with their corporate culture than it does with anything else.
It could be, but think about this. Straight women and gay men historically are allies and friends. Mm-hmm. Lesbians and, beer drinking, wing noshing men, not usually so much. So it's not like the crowds are not as simpatico, I think. It could be part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, if you're, in general, that's a generalization that I would agree with.
Yeah.
Lesbians always get the shaft, so to speak.
Did you really just say that?
That they buy from us. No, but I mean, because there's not a lot of like lesbian bars.
Yeah.
It's not that life. I don't want to say the lifestyle's not as embraced, but there's not as many places for them to go, I feel like, as a community. It seems.
I would agree with that. I think that that's probably true. And my friends, really good friends that live by us up at the lake, are a lesbian couple, just got married. They just had their 1-year anniversary, and we have some of the most interesting conversations about that particular thing. And it's really fun when they come over to grill out and have a lot of hops and decide to harass my straight single male friends and ask them to get naked and things like that because they're curious. I love that. Really quick before we go into Caitlyn Jenner, because there's a lot of stories, and Cynthia Nixon is in there. There's so many people commenting right now. I just have to tell everybody, and Megan, you've got to put this up on the Facebook page for Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. There's a guy named Jeff Wysocki, Wysacky, and if you Google him, he's hysterical. And he has a lot of stuff on Tumblr. He does these really funny photo essays. He went into a pet store and changed all of the signs and descriptions. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to. I just want to read this one for our audience. The judgmental tree frog. Okay, so and it says inquisitive, watchful nature, constantly judges your life choices. When are you getting married? Seriously, an art degree? Oh my God, is that a tattoo? and it's got the price and everything else. But you got to read these. There's like 15 of them that are just
yeah, that is something that even though it has nothing to do with sex, it is funnier than hell.
Funnier than all get out.
Yeah, because the Judge Melon one got me. A couple other ones. I'm like, oh, that's what I needed this weekend when I was sleeping for 3 days, feeling like crap.
Yeah, this guy has a raucous sense of humor. So, Caitlyn Jenner, cover of Vanity Fair. Did you guys look at many of the pictures?
Mm-hmm. I saw the one picture. I didn't delve into the other ones. What I thought was two things I noticed right away. One, a lot of photoshopping on the chin. I'm thinking that I thought the proportions looked off on her. But other than that, fairly good makeup. That and the fact that I really liked the bustier.
I know, isn't that cool?
I really, really liked the bustier. And, the third thought was, yet another woman who has better legs than I do.
Well, and that, now stand by, because next week we do have a very special show for you on location at Trans Exotica at the Gay 90s, and we will speak with several of the ladies and the performers that are there, and so that'll be really fun. So kind of an interesting timing for that show all of a sudden, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the fact that we did that, made Caitlyn just really, comfortable to come out. It was all us.
Yeah, the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast paved the way.
I'm just going to go with that. I was just like, oh, that's interesting timing.
Did you guys see, though, that the comparisons are being made that Caitlyn Jenner looks kind of like Jessica Lange? And
I saw that, and I looked at it and said, really? I don't see it, but that's okay. Whatever.
There's a couple pictures out there where there is quite the resemblance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was complaining earlier. I feel like that is such a non-story. With everything going on, it's like, I keep seeing all these articles like, Jessica Lange said that these comparisons are interesting, dun dun dun, and I'm like, why are you even talking?
She's fine with it from everything that I read.
Yeah, but I'm like, they're like making a story out of the fact that people are like, oh, she kind of looks like her, and then I think she also looks like Stanek Catherine, or her girl from Castle. She also kind of looks like
Stanek Haddock.
Yeah, she also kind of looks like Janice Dickinson.
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
she looks like an attractive woman of a certain age.
Yeah, which is fair. Yeah. Well, Cynthia Nixon, a lot of people are, obviously, this is just creating a flood of people commenting and things like that. And Cynthia Nixon, who of Sex and the City fame, she played the Miranda character. She bills herself as bisexual. Mm-hmm. And she, various people were making comments. She came out with a very interesting, kind of going back to what you were saying, Megan, about not as many places for the lesbian community to go. Listen to what Cynthia Nixon says. She says, I don't pull out the bisexual word because nobody likes the bisexuals. Everybody likes to dump on bisexuals. We get no respect. Now, she's married to a woman right now, mm-hmm. but, what have you. This conversation is starting to bring up sort of divisions within the GLBT community now, because John Waters, you guys know, the filmmaker.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I would love to be driving down the road and see him hitchhiking. That would be, because he does this.
Yes.
Oh, God, that would be great. Like, dude, that's John Waters. Oh.
Yeah, and he's 69 and he's pissed. He's like, what other age is a sex act? He goes, really? This is just like, I can't wait to be 70. So he was coming out with that. But he came out and he was saying, you know what? I don't like the straight gay people. Referring to the people who have now been taking advantage of the legalization of same-sex marriage here, he says he prefers the beatnik gays.
There's always been it's within every community, I think. There's always been a lot of division over stuff, perceptions of each other, or gay people who think bisexuality doesn't exist, or they don't even understand how to interact with people who are questioning or transgender. Like, you get a large group of people together, and there's going to be things they disagree on, no matter what group it is.
And which is interesting and says something, I think, about human nature, because we're going to find a way to be divisive no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even, it's like, okay, back to you're a lipstick lesbian, you're a bull, you're a U-Haul, you're a softball lesbian. Mm-hmm. Same with gay men. They have to find categories to put themselves in.
Yeah. Well, there's the first openly pansexual state lawmaker is out of Texas. Her name is Mary Gonzalez, and she's a Democrat out of the city of Clint, Texas. And she has some very interesting things to say about being a lawmaker and explaining what she is, right?
Mm-hmm. How in the world did she get elected in Texas? There's a conversation right there.
I know. It's pretty interesting. I mean,
Clint must be close to Austin.
It actually is. No, Megan, you're spot on.
Yeah, I was about to go, it's only got to be Austin.
But listen to this here. She goes, the media labeled me as a lesbian. She said, I always identified as queer or LGBT identified or pan. And she said, when I first came out into politics, when I was trying to describe that, the media just slapped the lesbian label because they didn't get it, right? It was too complicated for them. And she says, so I would always have to clarify. And she said, no, I'm not a lesbian. Love them, but I identify and then explain what that means. And then she goes on to talk about taking, which kind of made me laugh, a familial approach to being a lawmaker, and how there's a lot of conservatives in Texas, as we all know. And she's on the ag committee, okay? Mm-hmm. And a lot of them are there. And she says that she starts out telling her story, and some people might have an impression or just really have a problem with it. She said most of them do end up being my friends, and dealing with the conservative aspect there in the state lawmakers, she feels like she's doing okay and expanding horizons there, which I wasn't expecting the whole thing to turn out this positively.
Yeah, that's great.
It is. It has a lot to do with really the familiarity, the talking. I mean, even the vice president was talking about dealing with when he was a new senator. He was a Yale. He just did a graduation speech at Yale.
Okay,
and it's about compassion, and if you're immediately going in saying that someone is if you think they're closed-minded assholes. Yeah. You're going to act like a closed-minded asshole yourself. You've got to come up with really why are they against. You need to let them tell you why they're against something, not assume or whatever. It was a really lovely graduation speech, and it came out because, of course, they were talking about the compassion and all the stuff he's been with, because his son just passed away. But there was a whole section about just dealing with people that you don't know, and it has to just be getting to know them. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then she's doing the same thing. And this is someone who obviously believes in politics at its root thing, where you talk with someone and you figure out what's going on. You don't just assume. And it is so easy because there's enough things, and I don't care, where you are in the political spectrum, that just can make you set off. But you have to, step back and go, why am I reacting this way? Why are they doing it this way? Do they, really believe this? Is it, economic? I mean, there's so many reasons why they could have that opinion versus the one you think they might have. You might be right.
For sure.
But yeah.
I think she's really smart, though. There's a quote in here where she talks about getting to work with the conservatives, and we care passionately about supporting agriculture in Texas, and we bond on these issues. Best way she could possibly go about making it. But if you look her up, she's Mary Gonzalez. We can probably put a link to this particular story in there. And I think leading into next week's show with the transgender ladies that we got to speak with at the Gay 90s, and kind of just in honor of the Caitlyn Jenner situation, there is a great video out there, and we should link this, Megan, seriously. It's a BBC 3 video, 11 questions not to ask a transgender person. And the people that are in there are great. They are super funny, and there's like a fishbowl, and they're pulling out the questions and reading them and then reacting and then offering what you could say instead. Oh, that's Fred, the studio dog. He's awake. He doesn't want you to be mean to the transgender people either. So yeah, and the whole the video is really well done, and it's pretty funny. But I'll shoot through some of the questions for you. One is, did you get the operation? And one of the first things that they all said was, which one? Because there's like 5. Mm-hmm.
Would you say that it's more about like what not to ask or how not to ask something? Because people are curious. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're really going to be curious. I mean, you joke about like, unless you see the baby crowning, you never ask whether a woman is pregnant or not.
That's true.
But to some extent, depending on how, like a kid, just ask a question because they honestly want to know. So is it how? I mean, if someone professes their ignorance first, saying, I don't know a lot about this, what would you like to tell me? Or I don't.
Well, the problem is I feel like asking a transgender person, like, where did you get the operation? that would be like someone coming up to me and being like, so what does your vagina look like?
Well, you know what?
You don't ask about people's genitals.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not your business unless you're going to get a hand down there or whatever.
Yeah, I get that. But,
and it's funny because they do acknowledge the level of curiosity, because this is a little bit to get your head around for somebody who doesn't understand the identification issues that they have. In fact, one of them even says, God, I wish I was just gay. I'd just be gay, but this is a whole entire different thing. Some of the other ones were that they pointed out were, how do you have sex? Like you just, Fred didn't like that one either. This is the first time he's ever made a peep, twice in one show. Fredder. And then this one cracked them all up, and they're like, really? When did you decide to be a trans person? They're like, as if.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, that just like, what would the point? I mean, no one's ever wandered up to me and asked, when I decided to, it's going up to this, when did I decide to be heterosexual?
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming, I just don't understand that sometimes.
Some of the other ones that are common: are you a drag queen? Which bathroom do you use? Are you? Can I see a picture of you before? That one broke them all up. They were like, really? And can I feel your boobs? Really?
Well, I have felt people's boobs after they've gotten, but they've offered. I have never asked.
Yeah.
About the
women
about the boobs.
Oh God,
because my friends
when they get it, they want everybody to grab them.
Oh yeah,
all my friends did that got breast enhancements. Holy crap!
But you did not go, can I touch your boob? They were like, hey, check these out. These feel great, and you're like, okay,
yeah.
I mean, and sometimes I'm like, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, but at least it was offered. Not once did it ever occur to me to ask if I can touch someone's breast.
Yeah, it's not something that's usually on my radar.
No.
Although I did have a friend that had double E's installed. Double E's. Think about that. She's 6 feet tall. Okay, so if you're going to do that, it definitely...
So there's proportion. Okay.
Yeah, but they get there a couple minutes before she does. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow, okay. I'm still, after all these years, I'm like... men walking around, entering a restaurant with her is... I'll usually be behind her because I'm shorter. And... just watching the trail of open mouths as she's very, very, very pretty on top of it is, and I'll just go, shut your mouth, dear, as I walk by behind her.
No, we left. I think I may have mentioned this before, but years ago, traveled to the. We were at a show in Vegas, a toy show, and the AVN Awards was there, and they're doing the movie awards, and I'm attending with my brother, which is weird. But at one point when we're talking to different manufacturers, and we've been doing, at this point we've been in the business 5-6 years, so it wasn't too much that shocked us. I look at my brother, and his jaw has dropped. His eyes are really big. And I turn around, and the one booth, and I don't think this company exists anymore, but it was called Big Top Video. And you can pretty much figure out what they were,
circus themed, right?
Yeah.
The women walking to the booth to sign the autographs and to, talk about, they were watermelon sized, and they had like the tiniest little, and I don't quite know how they didn't fall over, because the physics there was amazing, but that even made my brother turn around, and it made the people that we were talking to, we all just went, wow, because it is so out of the ordinary at that point. And as a woman, I just kept thinking, ow. But that's what they wanted to do, and so more power. But it was very, I know that look, because if you can get people who make adult movies for a living, their eyes pop up and their jaws drop or sell them, then that's some pretty large breasts.
That's impressive. Mm-hmm. I just, and you know what, if this is what they want to do for their career, if this is what they want to do to make them feel good, that's all fine and dandy. I just can't imagine when you get to a certain age, like what happens when you're like 65, 70 years old with that. I mean, because other things,
they're just going to be upright. They
upright.
Go. Yeah. Other things may sag, they don't.
Will the coffin close? Mm-hmm. I'm just asking.
They're gonna, it's gonna, and things are different too, because ones years ago were made out of different stuff, and there's there's different things. A lot of people have things changed over the years. There's much better technology, putting them in, taking them out, doing all that sort of stuff.
For sure. Yeah, well, next week is going to be really fun. We went over to our friends at the 90s thanks to Karen, and we even saw Brandon, our male stripper guest, was there. He made a
Mason Leonard Entertainment.
Yeah, he made an appearance, and he's super nice. Wasn't he sweet?
He was. It was really fascinating because when he's on stage, there's a character. And then to see, and he reads the room, he knows what's going on, and, he can adjust the level of wild. So, but when you meet him in person, you're like, oh, what a sweetheart. And then you see him perform, you're like, that's just a wild dude. And it was really fascinating.
I was so intrigued by the idea of, like, geeky stripping.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, man, what could I have him, like, Star Trek? Maybe I could get him like an alien suit or something. Like, what can we do that's intriguing?
And he'd do it.
Yeah.
He's all about the show.
Give him time to prepare. And
So we're going to be back next week with a great show. I know, Colleen, you have a trip coming up, so we'll be back with you guys live again in 2 weeks. Next week, the special edition trans exotica version of the Gr8 Nrthrn Sexcast. Check out some of our past episodes. Of course, episode 11, the notorious Mrs. Sin, the swinging episode, and episode 24 is look for Mason Leonard. It's in there, and you can listen to his whole story about how he became a stripper. It's a great one. So happy June, everybody.
I can't believe summer's actually here.
Yay! Just keep your clothes on when you're at the lake. Okay?
Oh, yeah. I know. No sunburn.
I will report
places.
on you. If it comes across, it will be on the show.
I'm not heading to Florida, so we should be okay. But if you see any stories about naked women in Jersey, then, all bets are off.
Alrighty then.